Wait, you have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV. Television addict! Television addict! Television addict!
Hey everybody, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I am Ken Reed, your TV Guidance Counselor, here with a brand new episode on this cold winter morn. Although you might be in Australia, which is having summer, or I don't know where you are. You might be listening to this in the future, this summer, and sitting on a beach, which is a weird place to do that. But anyway, it's cold right now while I am recording this, and it's winter in Boston, and it's a cold, hard, dark winter. But here's a little ray of sunshine with this week's episode. My guest this week is Matt Braunger. Matt is an awesome guy, one of my favorite people. I love Matt. He's incredibly funny. You know him. You've heard him. You've heard his records. He's one of the guys who was instrumental in inviting me to the Bridgetown Comedy Festival years and years ago, which was, and I'm not exaggerating, life and career changing for me, and one of the big reasons why I do this podcast. He has several of his own podcasts. He's just the best. You love Matt. We all do. And I was happy that he was in Massachusetts recently. And we recorded, although not face to face, via Zoom, but whatever. It's a global pandemic. Anyway, it was great to talk to him. If you have other people that you would like me to try to get on the show, please email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com. I will do my best to get those to you. Also, you can hit me up on social media at TV Guidance or at Kenneth W. Reed, REID, and just let me know who you'd like to hear or really anything, how you're doing, any of that stuff. Also, thank you again, patrons. Huge help. It is what gets this show made every week. If you would like to give to the Patreon, patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor, give $1, give $25,000, or nothing, because I know times are tough. But even just thinking about it is nice. Or tell a friend about the show, or write a review about the show on iTunes or wherever you heard this thing. I don't even think iTunes is a thing anymore. I think it's Apple Podcasts, but whatever. If you have a minute, you want to write a review to counteract, the one or two bad reviews I get every day that hit me in my soul and make me very upset that I fixate on, that would be great too, but you don't have to. Anyway, speaking of great, here's this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Matt Braunger.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
After a long time wanting you on the show, and you've moved to my coast and area, but we're still remote. Matt Braunger, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I can. Yeah, it's indicative of everyone's situation.
It's true.
No matter how close, still so far.
Will this be your first winter in New England?
Well, we're getting out just before it hits.
Well, that's what you think.
Well, yeah, we're gonna leave on Sunday, so we'll have definitely a taste. I know Friday is gonna drop to like the 30s and possibly the 20s.
Yeah,
but we originally had planned to come out now, like we'd be leaving LA now. But once we were gonna go to Portland first, come back to LA, then drive, then do the big trip, and do the Portland trip as like a practice drive because it's about 1,100 miles.
Yeah.
And it's just 3,000. But anyway, once the fires hit, my wife was like, "Why don't we just drive to New England, and that way better weather?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that should have been the plan anyway."
Yeah. So, well, yeah. Although you grew up in the Pacific Northwest, right?
I did.
I mean, that's pretty snowy and unfun weather-wise.
It's more rainy. It's snowy. Speaking of unfun, it's more. The worst it gets is it rains and then it freezes, and there's ice everywhere that you can slip on in your feet or in your car.
Yeah.
So it's snow's annoying, but it's a lot less fun than black ice.
Right. You can't build a snowman out of broken bones.
No.
I mean, I guess you could. That'd be kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we where I grew up, I lived on this dead end street that was a giant winding hill, and so they never plowed it because it's a dead end and it's a giant hill. And so the first snow ice storm, that walk to school in the morning, it was like, how injured can I get and still make it to school?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Minimum damage is the best you can hope for.
Yeah. Although we did get a new car one year because a drunken plowman totaled our car, which was parked at the bottom of the hill because we couldn't get up the hill.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So
wow.
That was pretty exciting. Some drunken townie smashed our car. We got a Volvo, like real yuppies.
Hey.
So I give you an issue here. You wanted early 80s fall. So we got September 15th to the 21st, 1984. I got you a Portland edition. So
wow. Yeah. It looked, I mean, I thought it was just because of the time and the genres and stuff, but it looked familiar.
Did you get TV Guide?
We didn't, but I looked at him every chance I got. I've always been kind of an entertainment planner. Like I if I'm going somewhere new, I'm like, where do you eat? Yep. Where do you drink? Where do you get coffee? Where can I walk? Stuff like that. So that's always been a thing for me too, where I'm like, I'm always been like, what can I look forward to? And when you're a kid, a lot of times it's television.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I always say, like in a chaotic household that I grew up in, it was like, hey, if TV Guide says this is on Thursday at 8, this will be on Thursday at 8. You
can count on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is a great issue. Like when I was flipping through this, I was like, oh man, this is a killer issue. Because before we even get into the primetime on Saturday, we got the premiere of all the Saturday morning cartoons. And 84, this is like a killer year.
Oh man. Yeah. I was having just delightful flashbacks of everything,
Although it's weird, there's an ad in here for the Snorks, the underwater Smurf surf-off that no one really loves.
Totally.
And presumably 84, I was 4, you were probably a young, still watching Saturday morning cartoon age.
I was 8 or 9.
Okay.
No, what am I saying? No, I was 84, so I was 9 or 10.
Okay. So just aging out where you would watch the Saturday morning cartoons but tell your friends you didn't.
Sure, but I still did. I think grade school I never stopped watching. I think the anxiety / insecurity of junior high, of middle school is when all that stuff started.
Yeah, that's not cool. I don't watch the Snorks. No,
you still watch cartoons, dork?
You probably don't have any pubes.
That's when that started. I don't remember having a lot of. I think we all still watched cartoons in grade school.
I mean, they were good. The thing that's hilarious about this Snorks ad, though, is so presumably, we're under double-digit age, and they use a Beatles reference. So it says, Snorks, living in green, blue, yellow, red, and orange, submerge yourself this morning. Yeah.
I mean, wow, until you said Beatles, I didn't even get the reference now.
Yeah, because like
and I'm a man submarine. In his 40s. It didn't even... Wow, it didn't even occur to me.
Yeah, it's all the colors of submarines, not just yellow ones. Yeah, that's bad ad copy. That shouldn't have flown.
It really is.
But we also had Pryor's Place, which people forget Richard Pryor to Saturday morning cartoon.
I loved Pryor's Place. I remember singing the song with friends when we were kids. It had Pryor's Place, which was mildly subversive, but actually in a sense much more Sesame Street, let's all get along than like Fat Albert was.
Yeah, it was like what Cosby thought he was doing.
Oh my God. It's so, I mean, the allegories you could just spin off into you and I could do a whole other podcast about that. About
Pryor and Cosby.
Cosby's pure judgment and I'm a good dad. And meanwhile, he's raping all these women and he's just, he's just, angry at so many people. And he is the judge of all comedians. Here's what you should be. Let me tell you, Richard Pryor, just, filthy mouth, but pure human vulnerability.
Oh yeah.
And fearlessness.
And so insightful. You see, he legitimately liked humanity. Have you ever seen the Watts Stacks documentary?
Oh my God. Yes. Incredible.
So if people don't know, it was basically the Black Woodstock. It was in Watts.
Yes.
And, but in between the acts, they're interviewing Richard Pryor in 69, 70, something like that. So this is post shirt and tie stand up Richard Pryor, but Richard Pryor we know. And he's so insightful and smart while being really funny and charming. It's one of my favorite like candid Pryor things. And he comes across like that in the Pryor's Place thing.
Yeah, I also think it's he's just that person that I think one reason he spun off into, harder and harder drugs is like he was too smart and too sensitive of a soul. And if you look at life as a tapestry that way, it will certainly drive you insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Side note, I had Penelope Spheris on, and she directed a Richard Pryor movie. Have you ever heard the story?
No. Which one did she direct?
Oh, it never came out. So so she was the first woman to graduate from, I think, UCLA or UCal or something in directing. And her and her husband founded a music video company. So they shot that famous footage of P-Funk with the mothership coming down. And, she produced all the Albert Brooks shorts on SNL. So they were doing a lot of stuff.
Wow.
And so Pryor came to them and was like, I have this movie idea. So they, for 2 years, shot this movie. And Pryor wrote it, and it's insane. It's this crazy movie. It's like 2.5 hours, pure Pryor, mid-70s. So they make it. No one will even look at it. And so Pryor goes, I know what we'll do. We need a prominent black comedian who has a platform and some money to sort of endorse this. So they take it to Cosby. And Cosby buys it, locks it in a vault, and buries it forever.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So Penelope's like, I haven't even seen it. I don't know where it went. I saw it when we made it. And
what
Cosby
a piece of shit.
Yeah. He took the only print and was like, goodbye,
God.
competition.
And it's like, I see why Jerry Lewis never wanted to get The Day the Clown Cried out, because he was in it. And what
it's terrible.
Horrifically insane idea that no one ever, but just to be like, oh God, I mean, and she's so brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got to get that.
Yeah. I want us to have like a heist, like an A-Team style heist where we break into Cosby's vault.
That's a genius idea.
Although God knows what else is in there.
Yeah. I don't want to go in that.
No, I don't either.
And also, all these unlabeled tapes. Yeah. You're like, ugh, I don't want to watch them to see which one.
No, this is not going to be worth it. This is not going to be worth it. And Penelope Tucci was like, it's probably not worth it. But before we get into the full night here, I don't know if you picked this at 8, but there is an absolutely beautiful 2-page, full-page spread of the Love Boat fall preview party.
Yes. Incredible.
Which is like really, like they commissioned this artwork.
Yeah. It's like when you were a kid and you'd have that moment looking at like a Mad magazine that was very much a vista, and you were like, wow, someone put so much time into this. Same thing with that.
Yeah.
It's obviously hand drawn, and this person must have got the assignment and just done it in like a solid week, working like 8 hours a day.
I picture the original being like a fresco, like just a whole wall.
He did the side of his apartment building.
Yeah.
And then he worked into his contract to get extra white paint to like paint, because he had to paint the whole thing over just to get the detail right.
Yeah. It was just a temporary installation to get Matt Houston up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the weirdest thing is like they did their best to separate Robert Guillaume and Ben Vereen as far apart as possible.
Per their contracts.
Because
per their
people that would be like, people would be like, how come there's two of the same guy in Middle America? But they're also the only two people that have their hand up. So Guillaume's doing like a weird okay symbol. He's not a racist. And then Ben Vereen is like toasting. He's the only one with like a drink.
Yep.
Very weird.
Yep. Very weird.
Strange choice.
Yeah. And I mean, even the idea of a Love Boat preview, like, okay, you don't need to show that. Just show that ad.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's coming up. This person's going to be looking for love as someone. And we all know what it is. Like, we don't need to know a preview of their stories.
But the weird thing is, like, for fall previews, though, unless you got TV Guide, you didn't know what was going to be on that year unless you saw one of those specials. Like, we wouldn't know what was on Saturday morning that year till the Friday night before. And I can't even imagine that world.
No, it's just, it was that the level of network privilege where it's like, there's 9 channels. Okay, we might let you know what's coming. Probably not. Probably not.
What are you gonna do about
it? I don't want to work too hard. I'm mildly drunk at lunch.
Yeah,
and so I'm just gonna, you'll know when you know.
You're gonna be here. So,
what are you gonna not watch NBC?
Yeah, you're gonna see it when it's here. Why do I have to tell you what it is? Yeah. It's very strange. And this particular special is really weird because it has all the sort of stars of the new shows on the Love Boat, but the Love Boat was a shot on film show. And this was shot on video, which as a kid freaked me out because I didn't quite know why, but it looked wrong.
Oh, see, I never saw the preview.
Yeah, it's weird. Oh. There's like musical numbers. It's super 70s. Yeah.
Oh God.
It's
still, and that would be 84, the absolute death knell of that stuff, where it's kind of like, why don't we do a big musical dance number? People love those.
Yeah.
And the people who love those at that time were like 40, 50 and older, but then you go into the 90s. No one wanted any, it's like, stop. Oh yeah. Stop that. Stop. Even late 80s. They cut it out.
The weirdest thing, and that never made a comeback, and rightly so, but the weirdest thing is 84, I forgot how transitional of a year that was, and there was a ton of 70s shows that went way into the 80s that we forgot about, like Alice and the Jeffersons and and then Love Boat, that feel just wrong. Like they're like Encino Man. They're unfrozen cavemen in the 80s. Like, this is weird.
Desperately trying to hold on to their any kind of cultural validity. Three's Company. It's just like a man living with two women.
It's gotta be gay.
By the mid 80s. Yeah, got him. I mean, come on. He's not trying to at least sexually assault either one of them.
Like the joke I always make is it was okay to be gay on TV if you were pretending for cheap rent.
Yes.
Which had 2 shows about that with Puss and Buddies as well. Yeah, it's very strange. And in this issue, we also see, I don't know if you picked it, we'll get to it later, but where Three's Company was trying to transition into Three's a Crowd. Like they were desperate.
Yeah, I remember when Three's a Crowd came out and I was like, no. Like even as a kid, I was like, this just feels wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to see his life, his married life. Let him go. We've watched him fall over the couch so many times.
Let him go. Let him have his goddamn film career that we all want to happen.
Yes, thank you.
That never quite took off. But, what'd you do Saturday night?
Okay. So I did 8 o'clock. Airwolf grabbed me right away.
Yeah,
because I was always like an action movie fan as a kid and stuff. And that was definitely marketed towards me. It was kind of that thing where I remember seeing that, that terrible Clint Eastwood movie where he was in, you know what I'm talking about?
Foxfire or something?
Foxfire,
the mind-controlled airplane?
Yep. I saw that with my dad. And it was like, it's that thing where it's like, it's so bad, but you just don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care. That part of me is dead forever. I at least can go, oh, this is awful. But back then it's like, all right, it's a movie. Yeah. Fun. Airwolf, so silly, but like, at the same time, I would definitely watch it because like every week was like a different action movie.
Yeah.
Same with another show that I won't mention that comes up later. But
and this episode has a character named Archangel.
Perfect. Great. That sounds so hardcore.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I would flip around from Airwolf to Diff'rent Strokes. I really liked sneak previews. Every week, whenever, trailers. That is one thing. I still love trailers. They're overlong now and they're overdone and there are entire, maybe they were back then, but now there's entire, massive companies that all they do are movie trailers. But back then it was kind of just like you watch these little clips and it was that thing where you just saw like a star's face and you're like, oh, I'll see that.
Yeah.
I have to. Sean Connery's in it.
I don't care what else happens.
I don't care that he's a monk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Name of the Rose is a great movie.
It is. It's a solid movie. That's another one I remember seeing my dad and being like, wow, this is great.
I remember I saw a Highlander with my dad.
Oh, wow.
And he was skeptical. And so It was
like your dad's like, this would never happen.
Yeah. So the movie starts, and the Queen song starts off like a little bit because it's like,
Sure.
it's like, here we are, born to be kings. And he was like, and then this guitar kicks in and it goes, and he goes, yeah, all right.
Sits forward.
Yeah, he was like,
I love that.
Okay,
I love that.
You got me. All right.
I will see that, and I will not raise, but I will add to the pot. My dad and I saw Commando together, and when he's on the plane with the guy and he elbows him in the face and breaks his neck, and then goes to the back of the plane, I have to piss or whatever, and he goes down into the where the wheels are, and he hangs from the wheel and he drops into the marsh, and he gets up and he's like beep, 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 and he has like 10 hours till the plane lands.
Yeah.
My dad next to me goes, he has 10 hours. This is good. Great. Like my dad was like, good. That was a good plot twist.
I'm hooked.
I like that.
I'm hooked. I remember we saw Red Dawn and the beginning when they come in and kill all the teachers at the high school.
Sure. That's where you'd start.
Yeah. I go, oh, Dad, could that happen? And he goes, yeah. I was like 4. Yeah.
Horrifying.
It probably will.
Hey, what do we know?
Don't do that to your kids.
No, don't.
This episode of Diff'rent Strokes is a really weird one. I don't know if you read the description here.
I will say, I'm sorry, I didn't read the descriptions.
No, it's somewhat better that you didn't, because you'll be surprised by this. In his search for religious identity, Arnold is drawn to Judaism, already weird. After learning he could be considered a man at age 13, Rabbi Morris is played by Milton Berle.
Oh, wow. Uncle Milty.
That's a disaster.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, he is a real piece of shit, that Milton Berle. And I bet he was painfully unfunny in this episode.
Oh God. Just the level of entitlement, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like
he must have been furious when he showed up on set and none of the child actors knew who the hell he was.
Oh yeah.
And didn't care.
Yeah. Because this was the same year or the year after he did that SNL he hosted where he was banned from ever being in Studio 8H again.
That's right.
He was such a miserable asshole. What a prick. So you're flipping through, you do the whole hour. So did you skip Give Me a Break?
No. So then a little bit of Twilight Zone.
Okay.
8 o'clock. Just a touch. 8:30, definitely Give Me a Break. I loved Give Me a Break as a kid. I mean, it's one of those shows where the characters are so defined and it's always fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Give Me a Break was such a solid sitcom. Yeah, I definitely 8:30. I'm switching to Give Me a Break. I feel like I'm going back and forth between Airwolf and Give Me a Break for the last hour.
What a mashup.
It really
I would watch a reboot of Airwolf with a Nell Carter-like character in the lead.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to have a woman of color.
Because Nell didn't take no shit.
No, none. Or I would even do Joe would be the obvious one.
Yeah.
But I would love who was the caretaker?
Mrs. Garrett?
Mrs. Garrett as a one last mission kind of Airwolf.
Yeah. Like she was Ernest Borgnine.
Her generation, she was like kind of looked at as kind of like the, maybe she was like a designer or mechanic and like looked at as like a Rosie the Riveter, but she actually was like a secret military badass kind of thing who was flying, put the helmet on. You can't see it's a man or a woman. And she was flying these missions under a male name. And then that comes out, and she has to like, you're the only one who can still fly the Airwolf. Yeah. None of these young guys can handle it.
It's a unique design.
That thing's a flying heart attack. They're used to all their gears and they're used to all their electronics and it reading them and stuff. And you're a gear and pulley lady.
That's an elbow grease machine. Like we just made $1 million. I have to read this Give Me a Break episode because this actually shocked me. This is the conclusion of a 2-parter. And it says, after they see the man from the airport at their hotel, Nell and Addie try to ditch the bag containing the cocaine.
Holy shit. Oh.
Yeah.
What?
I would like that to not even be the second part of a 2-part. Like that's just the whole episode. Like, oh, you know,
start there.
Yeah.
I want to start there. I want to cut to, I don't need to see them get the wrong bag at the airport. I want to start at the house where they're frantic. They've opened their suitcase identical to his. And it is an ungodly amount, an amount of cocaine that you would be put under the jail. Oh, yeah. You know, like even someone who worked for Escobar at his height, Escobar would be like, don't take that much.
They'll know.
Look, I know if you give me up, you will kill your family. And you know that. But I don't want you to go to jail for 100 years.
Yeah. Like,
you can go for 20.
You'll kill your family in this case.
You'll break their hearts.
Yes. Like this is, and unusually, like I feel like all the drug episodes, they would rarely do just one drug. Like if they found a thing of drugs, it'd be like just a bag of every drug.
Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing.
Yeah. But
Weekend Pack.
Cocaine.
So it's just, so many things. I mean, it's like the one that gets made fun of all through our lives was, you know, where'd you learn to do these drugs?
You all right?
You all right? Where'd you get these drugs? I mean, even as a kid, I was just impressed by the variety.
Yeah.
He had all of them.
The kid's got a Whitman sampler of drugs in a cigar box.
Something you would never have.
Yeah, no one did
like if
that.
you learn that from watching your dad, you're like, is your dad one of the Doobie Brothers?
Right.
Or like
your dad's John Belushi.
Your dad beyond.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Although I will say this. My uncle, and I could talk about this because no one knows him. My uncle used to be in the Coast Guard. And he had some kind of badge or license that allowed him to carry anything through an airport.
Jesus.
And so every year we used to all go to this dude ranch in upstate New York. And one year he literally showed up, I must have been 7 or 8, with a suitcase full of every drug.
Holy shit.
Because he's like, check out what we confiscated. And the rest of my family was like, fuck yeah. And so I just remember being a kid being like, I don't think that you're supposed to do that. And then they stole horses and there was a race with a bus. But so it did happen sometimes.
That's what happens when you have that amount of illegal drugs. You steal horses and you race a bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happens.
That's what should happen. Otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly. Literally go big or go home.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Just be a pothead if that's what you want.
Yeah. Just sit around, watch movies.
Yeah. You lazy ass. Anything else on Saturday?
Yeah. 9. Definitely Love Boat because it was a show that fascinated me as a kid, just because I didn't understand it at all. I don't know why. I was entertained by it's boring show, but it was like, okay, this is kind of fun to watch. I liked the pageantry. I would say I'd flip between that and Night Flight.
Night Flight's the best.
See some bands. I didn't back then. I didn't appreciate how amazing Night Flight was. I was just like, yeah, there's some bands. Maybe I like this one. I don't know who this is. And 9:30, Mama's Family. Mama's Family was super funny.
Oh, you love it, really? It's maybe my least favorite sitcom.
Fair. Fair. I just remember being into it, but also not knowing if Mama was a man or a woman.
Same. Same. Something was wrong. Like you were like, she's in disguise.
And I remember really kind of not minding. I mean, maybe it's all the theater I grew up seeing as a kid. I didn't have, there were times as a kid where you're kind of, I want to know, or that person shouldn't be this or should be, otherwise I wouldn't have, like most people laughed at It's Pat. Right. But that is one of those times in my childhood. I was just like, okay, this is a comedy. So, hey, like
I think the thing that bothered me about it was that this will sound weird, but a sitcom, like my suspension of disbelief was tested because it's a sitcom with a character from a comedy sketch, which is exactly what the show was.
Yes. And I get that.
It was a step too far. Like I couldn't lock in.
Yeah. When I saw Carol Burnett show, I dug it, but it was always like Carol Burnett show was like my bedtime. Yeah. And I was like 3 or 4. So like, I didn't know. It was like, I know this person, but I don't know from whatever. Right.
Parents like this stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
But it's like, and it's funny, like when I say I would definitely watch it, that's just me being like honest. I don't remember particularly. I don't look back. Like if Mama's Family came on, I wouldn't be like, I'm going to watch this. Like I would watch, say, Cheers. Right. or Give Me a Break, or definitely like Golden Girls, like these shows that are perfect, frankly.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
But
So-
we watch things if we liked them or not, because your option was not to
Yes.
watch TV, and you're not going to do that.
No, out of your mind.
Are you the oldest, only child, sibling?
Only child.
Okay, only
Only
child.
child.
Yeah, so you didn't even have to negotiate with a sibling. You could just watch.
No, but yeah, I didn't. You know, my parents would watch a lot of PBS and stuff. So
Okay.
sometimes I'd be SOL.
Right.
You know, I'd just be like, well, everyone's going to talk about this show tomorrow. I don't get to watch it.
Yeah, which was a huge blow as a kid. Like, if you
Sure.
didn't have the cultural capital in your brain from that week, like you were just like in the caste system, you were banished.
Well, and thank God for the advent of cheap VHS players in junior high and high school, because I could tape stuff or I could, especially with like SNL, I could tape it and I could memorize the sketches and go to school and get a laugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
same. Oh yeah, I mean, in my tape trading days, my SNL reserves were gold.
Nice.
And then that night, the Miss America pageant's on, which is outside the purview, but I want to mention it because this is the first year they've done it since Vanessa Williams was stripped of her crown.
Right.
There's a huge article about it in here, and an ad that's clearly supposed to be Vanessa Williams, although she was not allowed to participate that year. Because if I'm remembering the story correctly, there were nude photos she took like as a younger woman that like, I think Hustler or Penthouse got a hold of. It wasn't like a spread she did after she won.
Yes. Well, the unholy hypocrisy of those pageants is always like, now the swimsuit competition, these ladies are pure.
Yeah.
And not that a woman in a swimsuit isn't quote unquote pure, but it's kind of just like, look, you want women the way you want them, and that's it. And they don't get to do anything. So she made a couple extra bucks, being in these, art photos or something that Hustler then bought.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid being like, oh, why would she do something so stupid? She ruined her future, like that, because that's how it was portrayed in the press.
Yeah. And it was like, she's a beautiful woman. She was modeling. It's totally not that weird for models in the 70s.
It's a human body.
Yeah. But yeah, the hypocrisy is out of control because they're like, excuse me, you showed nipples and we want to see everything but nipples. So you're stripped of your crown.
Yeah.
It is. But it was an enormous story that it's hard to say because I'm sure it was awful for her, but it may have worked out better for her in the end.
Without a doubt. Oh, without a doubt. I can't think of anyone who is in any of those pageants or one that has done more with their career than she has.
Yeah, I can't name another Miss America.
No, neither can I. And she's got, like hit records.
Yep. Acting.
And a really steady acting career.
Still working. Yeah.
Still working.
Yeah. And I literally can't name another Miss America.
No.
So Sunday, what'd you do?
8:00, I switched back and forth between Knight Rider and Twilight Zone.
Okay.
I used to always watch Knight Rider. So dumb, but I dug it. And then 8:30, maybe Star Search. Like I would maybe kind of watch it and glaze over. I Star Search is one of those things I remember just being around.
Yeah, it's weird to have it on prime time here. Normally it was because it was a syndicated show, so normally it was like a 2:00 on a Sunday show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Although, as a kid who liked stand-up, it was one of the few, not one of the few, but before all the cable stations jumped on board, you could always see stand-up on it.
Yeah, and you couldn't stay up late enough to watch The Tonight Show, so you'd never see a set on that.
Right.
But 9:00, 2-hour Miami Vice.
Yeah. It's
incredible.
The debut.
Man.
And that pilot's still great.
I loved Miami Vice so much. So insane, so much shooting.
Yeah.
And I love the story of how Miami Vice got sold. The bar napkin.
Yeah.
Someone wrote MTV Cops and slid it across the table.
Yeah. It's, and that pilot is so incredibly dated, but it was so incredibly dated the moment it aired, which was why it was great.
Exactly.
Like even then you were like, this is of the moment. And there were, I can't think of another show like that because you would see people coming in like Phil Collins is playing a drug dealer.
Yeah.
You know, like these people, but it was a pretty serious show.
Oh yeah. Him driving in the air tonight playing.
Oh yeah.
He's like sad and angry.
It's great. It's great. I had Paul Michael Glazer on, who was Starsky and Hutch, and he's a Boston guy. He directed a bunch of episodes of Miami Vice, which I totally forgot about. And the reason he did was because Michael Mann was a writer on Starsky and Hutch. And Paul's like a Boston guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm hanging out with the writers. I don't know. And so he was nice to Michael Mann, and everyone else was kind of a dick to the writers. And so when Michael Mann gets Miami Vice, he's like, hey, didn't you say you wanted to direct? And he's like, yeah. He's like, come do a bunch of episodes. He's like, oh, okay.
Fuck yes.
So be nice to people.
Rule number one.
Yeah.
But it's so funny that he was on Starsky and Hutch, because Starsky and Hutch, when I was really little, my mom wouldn't let me watch because it was so violent.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it stoned in college and watching an episode where there's a shootout in a junkyard, and this guy gets in the like disembodied scooper of like a dump truck. And the guy, of course, one gets up in the magnetic crane, and they pull it up and they drop him from like 50 feet, and he bounces out of it, and they run up and cuff him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that guy's bones are shattered.
Yeah.
And they're cuffing him.
It's Wile E. Coyote.
But then Miami Vice was like, I was allowed, but you know what I mean? I don't think my mom really liked. She's like, that's not cool.
You're old enough, but this is pretty, because it was violent,
Really violent. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, that was like some serious Miami, like drug lords cutting people's fingers off and stuff.
Yeah, seriously. Tubbs is like, with a sawed off shotgun, like in the promo photos.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all know Don Johnson's musical career, but enough people don't know about Philip Michael Thomas's.
I know.
His album. Oh boy.
Man. I have a framed Heartbeat Don Johnson album that I gave to my wife, and she's got it in her office.
The first ever video album.
Oh my God.
He did a video for every song on the album where he plays a Vietnam War photographer.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh God. Monday, what'd you do? Saddest night of the week.
Zorro, the movie.
Okay.
with the caveat is SCTV if I were there now. Mm-hmm. Back then I didn't know what it was, and Alfred Hitchcock and WKRP in Cincinnati. A lot of bouncing around in that solid hour.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of different stuff going on there.
Yeah.
I do want to mention at 8 on Showtime, there's a Shelley Duvall Fairy Tale Theater on, which was a show that I love. But this is my favorite episode. And it's called The Boy Who Left Home to Find Out About the Shivers. And it stars Peter MacNicol and Christopher Lee.
Wow.
And it's terrifying and really
I've heard of it. I've never seen it. I've heard it's horrifying.
It's really, really fun. Zorro I could never get into. It's so superhero and I should like it, but it's like I had this thing as a kid. It was like, oh, no electricity. Sorry, not interested.
Yeah. I kind of either, I would, anytime the stuff our parents were into, like Errol Flynn and stuff, not my jam, but I'd be like, it's a newer movie, so I'll watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. 75. This is the French Italian one. Not the Gay Blade.
Not the Gay Blade. No.
Which is great.
Wink, wink. That movie. 9 would probably start the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Which is so great that was even airing.
Yes, exactly. So creepy. 9:30 Newhart, without a doubt.
Hands down.
Newhart was one of those shows that I didn't know why it was so funny, but it was so funny.
And it's a show that holds up so well, and it's the show that I revisit the most, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's that thing where comedy can't really necessarily be taught, but I just feel like Bob Newhart was just born funny.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like his whole story of just the guys hosting the Tonight Show from putting out an album after not performing live ever. It's just like, he's the YouTuber of the 60s that all the stand-ups were like, this fucking guy, I put I'm on the phone.
I don't know if this driving instructor thing will go anywhere.
Yeah. He doesn't even have
1 million copies. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He's one of those vinyl comedians.
God damn.
So Tuesday, what'd you do?
A-Team.
Yeah.
A-Team without a doubt.
Yeah.
Loved A-Team. Loved B.A. Baracus.
Bad attitude.
Bad attitude. Maybe during commercials I'd flip over to the Three's Company. Maybe.
It's tail end Three's Company. This is literally a 1 hour special where it morphs into Three's a Crowd.
Yeah, I would have pretty much stayed on A-Team, I think.
Yeah.
9 O'Clock Hunter. Just a action rock block of 2 hours. I remember watching a lot of Hunter.
That's a violent show.
Violent, and I had no idea that Hunter used to be a football guy. That's how much I knew sports.
I didn't know either, and it makes perfect sense when I know now because he is not an actor.
Yeah.
But I hated Hunter when it was on, and I've rewatched it because they're all on IMDb TV for free right now.
Oh wow!
And it's actually really, really funny. Like intentionally, not even just in like an ironic way.
Yeah. I remember it. I remember just really enjoying it. It wasn't like a thing I watched, like on F is for Family. Yeah. Bill Burr's show, where he watches that. And because that's what a man does. Right. Like a badass guy who's just kicking ass. Right. Hunter never struck me as that. It was that thing where he had the female counterpart. And he had a sense of humor about how big and strong he was, and she was always making fun of him and stuff. And
it was surprisingly self-effacing. To your point, whenever you watch it as an adult, I'm like, oh, he's much more likable than I remember him being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Stephanie Powers is really funny. Like she often will go undercover in like a comedy role and does a really good job with it, which is unusual for like a ridiculously attractive woman.
Yeah. Especially in those days. Yeah. For sure.
I mean, if you're not Lonnie Anderson, you can't get away with it. And this is the debut of Hunter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Detective Sergeant Rick Hunter.
Rick Hunter.
What a name.
The name is amazing.
Do you have a favorite name of an action movie character? It's a tough one.
Action movie character. Oh my God.
You could think about it.
I probably Scaramanga. Yeah. Scaramanga from Golden Gun. It's just so hard. It's so like elegant and scary. Yep. It sounds like a breed of tiger that is the most vicious or something.
Or some kind of disease you get in the jungle.
Oh yeah.
From mosquitoes. Oh, yeah. You have Scaramanga. Also played by Christopher Lee.
So he died immediately.
Yes. It was
the worst of the jungle diseases.
Yes. I have to go with Steven Seagal in Hard to Kill, where he plays the character Mason Storm.
Oh, perfect.
And the original script was called 7 Year Storm because he's in a coma for 7 years.
I love it. Oh, I love it so much.
Yes, I own all the Seagal movies scripts.
Of course.
So where are we? Wednesday night.
Wednesday. Fall Guy. Fall Guy.
I do want to mention at 4:00 on Wednesday, there's an after school special with Robert Klein and Scotty Schwartz. And it's a body switching movie.
Oh, awesome.
And it's called Summer Switch. Benji thought adults had it pretty good. His dad thought kids had it better. This was the summer they found out the real facts.
An idea that's never been done.
No.
And will never be done again.
No, it's one and done. Like body switching movies. I hated them as a kid.
Yeah.
Because the adult would always play the kid too young.
Yes.
Although maybe not now, but as a kid, I was like, he's playing him like a baby.
Well, yeah, and even as a kid, I would like look at it and be like, you're doing it wrong. I don't know what would be right, and I don't care.
Yeah. I'm like,
I don't care.
This kid's 8. You're playing him like he's 7.
And it was always the same thing. Let's get a well-respected actor and this up-and-coming cool kid.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore and like father, like son.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. The Fall Guy was super fun. This is the season premiere. It's 2 hours. It's got a great theme
It's a great
song.
idea for a show. And it has, I'll just say it, the best theme song in all of television, I think.
Yeah. And certainly the best star sung theme song.
He doesn't want to sing the song.
No.
Like, I don't, maybe he did. One of my favorite showbiz stories, my buddy Dave Lyons, who's a location manager, but you might know him as Coco from the Yacht Rock internet series.
Yeah.
So him and JD actually came up with the term Yacht Rock. And so he worked on a movie with Lee Majors, and Lee Majors shows up and Dave meets him at his truck with the 45 of the unknown stuntman.
Of course.
And he's like, have you heard this song? You know, Dave's like a cheeky dude like that. And Lee Majors just starts cracking up and he goes, you know what? I don't even remember recording that. Where's my trailer?
That's about the cocaine.
It's the best answer.
It really is. Yeah, I did so many 45s. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I at one point pitched a show about a guy who was an indestructible stuntman, but he had to cover the fact that he was indestructible and he didn't know why he was indestructible.
Oh, that's funny.
And it was like a weird action. No one liked it, but I was like, "Come on, we need a stuntman show. This is."
I wish you would have said they bought it and it became Unbreakable.
Yes,
with M. Night Shyamalan.
It's called Scrubs. Just some changes. They tweaked it around a little bit, but still my basic concept.
And I never got paid.
Yeah, no, a comedy Unbreakable would be great.
Yes,
I think like a guy who can't get hurt. I just thought it was hilarious. Someone who's not hurt but had to fake getting hurt.
Yes, and a guy with an incredible brain who keeps getting hurt.
Yeah, like in that Starsky and Hutch, he'd fall out of the bin in the bulldozer, and he'd be fine, but he'd be, oh, my leg. I'm easily amused.
9 o'clock, I would watch the second half of Cannonball Run.
Yeah, the good half.
Yes, Cannonball Run, which should just be called Drunk Driving.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
It starts in a bar, and then that's the rest of the movie. And everyone is drinking several drinks. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know? I
had Adrienne Barbeau on, and she confirmed.
Wow.
She confirmed everyone was hammered.
Hilarious.
Except for Dean Martin.
Dean Martin. Apple juice.
Only one who wasn't drunk in that movie.
Frank Sinatra said, I spilled more than he drank.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's prime smug Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Oh, pure, uncut, blue rock cocaine purity level of smug Burt Reynolds.
In the first movie, I think that did bloopers in the credits.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think
him and Dom DeLuise.
Who just there's one of my favorite SNLs is they're doing I think it's when they do Carcinio.
Yes.
But they're showing clips from old episodes, and one of them is Dom DeLuise, and it's Chris Farley, and all it is him laughing, hitting himself in the crotch with pies. There's no dialogue.
That's it.
I'm like, this is pretty accurate.
It's pretty accurate. They're laughing far harder than anyone is who's watching this.
Yeah, it's infectious.
Far harder.
Infectious. I might have to watch Cannonball.
Side note, Dean Martin, his license plate in Beverly Hills said drunkie.
Perfect. The irony of humor with drunk driving. Who wouldn't love that?
I mean, talk about it was another time.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you couldn't possibly get that license plate.
No.
From the DMV. Second off, why would you?
Yeah.
It just keeps getting pulled over. Anytime you spill your coffee, and you swerve a little, cops pull you. You were swerving, sir, and Are you serious? That license plate? Step out of the car.
It might have been a reverse psychology thing, though, where they'd be like,
maybe.
Does he want us to pull him over? Well, you know what? Forget it. I'm not playing your game, drunkie.
Must be, look, this is Beverly Hills. Must be some famous asshole.
Yeah.
Wants a moment with a cop. Wants attention.
Is that Jimmy Drunkie?
All he wants is someone to go, hey, aren't you? That's all he wants.
Are you the famous drunkie? Yeah. Matt Nix, who created Burn Notice and a bunch of other shows.
Oh, sure.
His great aunt was a PR person in Hollywood in the 30s, 40s, 50s. So she was like a fixer, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, she never talked about it. I always wanted to ask her. She never talked about it, except one time when Mel Gibson got pulled over for being drunk.
Yes.
She goes, that's disgusting. And he goes, really? She goes, in my day, you had everyone on the payroll, so the bartender would give you a call and you'd come pick them up. So it's like
they minded everybody.
Yes.
They're like, I know look, we know you live in Malibu. You're gonna go to was it Moonbeams?
Yes.
It's Moon something.
Yeah.
That bar. Yeah.
Call us if he's drunk. We'll come get him.
The pictures of him with tourists.
Yeah.
Beer bottle in his hand, head.
Yeah. Hammered.
Zonked.
Yep.
65, whatever he was.
Oh, yeah.
Of age.
But it's like, that was the good old days when you'd have everyone on the payroll.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, the amount of scandal that got shoved under the rug is insane.
Oh yeah. Give us a call and you'll get you $50. It's like basically like I don't want to say it was for good, but if TMZ was working for the good guys, sort of.
Yeah. Well, and also I would much rather have a bartender go, come get him. He's hammered. He won't give up his keys.
Yeah.
And someone's like, I'll be there in 5.
Yeah.
You know, I would look, do anything you want. Destroy your body.
Yeah.
Don't plow into a family of 4.
No, that's where I draw the line. You know,
look, I hate to be controversial on your podcast. I know you're going to get a lot of emails over this.
Jesus. Yeah. I mean, family of 3, fuck them. Family of 4.
No way, mister.
Those kids aren't mistakes at that point. There's 2 of them.
That is a family.
That's a plan. Thursday night, what'd you do?
Cosby Show.
Yeah.
I mean, never missed it.
It's great.
Cosby Show. During commercials, I'd go to Magnum PI. Come on. Tom Selleck, the greatest mustache the world's ever known.
Yeah.
8:30 Family Ties.
Amazing show.
Amazing show.
This is a good one because this one features all of Alex's friends, which include Crispin Glover.
Wow. Awesome.
Which is always weird.
Always weird. The best. 9 o'clock. Cheers.
Perfect.
Cheers. With maybe a couple flips over to Simon and Simon.
I could never get into Simon and Simon, although this episode has a guest starring role by G.W. Bailey, who people may remember from the Police Academy films.
For sure. Yeah, Simon and Simon, it was not one of those shows I'm like, boy, I miss it. Or I would never watch it again. But I was like, yeah, they got speedboats. Yeah. I'll watch it.
Yeah, you just liked vehicles.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in like an action vehicle, like a helicopter or a speedboat or anything?
I've never, I don't think I've ever been in a helicopter. I don't know if I've been in a lot of fast cars. In fact, I was one of the most surreal moments on when I was on a show called Agent Carter, and we were all in,
40s
cars from the 40s.
Yeah.
And this guy who was a stunt man, he would double for me sometimes, but he was about my height. He was a big guy, but he was also like he was a stunt man and a stunt driver. And so this scene, you can't see him. But I run up and I jump in the car and the car peels off. And then they're like, cut. And they're like, all right, let's start again. But both you guys in the car. And he looks over and he goes, hey, I'm so-and-so. And, muscular, handsome guy, well-coiffed hair, in the style. Yeah. We both had the Brill creamed flips going on. And he's like, I'm a big fan of your comedy. And he shook my hand. They're like, action. And he slams it. And just And he peels around the corner, and it was being in a car that big and that heavy, being driven with that kind of expertise. And he, fishtailed it around a whole corner. And I remember looking at where the director and Video Village was, and the director is running over to this guy who is on his knees, tearing his hair out, who's the owner of the car.
Of course.
This beautiful and beautifully kept, I don't know what it was. Oldsmobile. It's not a car that's meant to be like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, can we do another take? But just don't go so hard. And the guy's like, okay. But I've had that experience, which is fun.
See, I've never even gotten to do that. I've been in a helicopter once when I worked at our local CBS station. I went out with the traffic guy once, and it was horrifying. Larry,
helicopters are they seem scary to me.
Yeah,
but
especially
I would get in one for the experience.
Yeah, I'd ride in anything once. That's my life philosophy.
Yeah, for sure.
The dogs probably see a child outside, which they want to kill. So final night of the week, Friday night. What are you going with?
I go 8 o'clock Benson.
This is a great one. This has the classic sitcom cliche of the character having to talk someone out of killing themselves by jumping off a ledge.
I love it. Classic.
Every show had that.
Always hilarious. Don't come close. Yeah. I'm going to do it. No sign of actual depression.
No. They're just like, what happened? Oh, I lost my job at the car dealership or whatever it is.
I'm mildly sad and worried about the future.
I'm a writer.
It's like, that's everyone.
Yeah.
That's everyone all the time. Everyone is always mildly sad and worried about the future.
I always wanted to do a talk show where the set was a ledge. And
Oh, great.
the guest is on the ledge and the host is in the window doing the interview.
Leaning out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he never really mentioned like that's the setup. But it's just that those sets have to be laying around still.
You know, the first draft of Lethal Weapon where he cuffs himself to that guy and they jump together?
Oh, yeah.
He just gets fired, and that's the end of the movie.
They just die. That's it.
Riggs is
10-minute movie.
Riggs, the guy he banks his head off a ledge on the way down. Riggs, by cuffing himself to the man, kills him.
Yeah.
If he would have shoved him off into the inflatable thing down below.
Would have been fine.
Which, by the way, the man about to jump never noticed that inflatable.
No.
Never mentioned it.
No.
Never during their discussion was like, hey, what's that shit?
Yeah.
I'm trying to die.
Like,
deflate it.
They're like, oh, no, we inflated it real quick. Let's go up real fast. Yeah. So Benson at 8, and then what do you got?
8:30 Webster. I enjoyed Webster.
Webster's a pretty good show.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I had a soft spot for what's his name who played Mongo in Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, Alex Karras. Another former football player.
Exactly. Yeah. Who to extrapolate the Hunter comparison, as Mongo did that times 10.
Oh yeah. But just a teddy bear of a guy on Webster.
Oh yeah. And so fun to see on screen.
Yeah.
And to extrapolate even further back to Richard Pryor, who co-wrote Blazing Saddles, Mel Gibson wrote all the N-word stuff, and Richard Pryor wrote stuff like Mongo only pawn in Game of Life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the brute who knows his place literally in the universe.
Yes.
He knows his place in all of existence.
Yeah. Metaphysical brutes.
Not many of us, I would say 99% of us don't know that.
No.
Don't know exactly why we're here.
No. And he did. It's enviable. He also passed up the Dean Martin celebrity roast of Mr. T.
I did, because I don't think I would have watched it, because I remember back then finding those insufferable.
I hate them.
I now there are moments in roasts, even those old ones, that I very much enjoy, but it's just, it's like you're sitting through an hour of stuff you don't enjoy for that one moment, and it's not worth it. It's
like your dad's friend's retirement party.
Yeah, it was something that even my parents' generation found corny.
Yeah. This one's real weird because, again, to talk about 84 being that sort of butting heads with generations, you have Mr. T in this format with Dean Martin, and the mixture of guests. It's Red Buttons, Rich Little, Nell Carter, Gavin McLeod, Gary Coleman, George Papard, Howard Cosell, Don Rickles, Bob Hope, and Ricky Schroeder.
Amazing.
Like, what a weird mix of people.
Fun fact, Ricky Schroeder was filthy in that roast.
Really?
Just the bluest. Yeah. No, can you imagine?
Oh, that would be funny if he just went up there and just out Rickled.
Yeah, he just comes up. Hey, Mr. T, sorry if I smell like pussy.
Yeah.
Guys, listen.
Anyway, I want those deleted scenes. We need to get a deep fake going of the child Ricky Schroeder being filthy at a roast.
Sorry, I'm late. I got arrested for having sex with overage women. Hey, guys.
Here's a list.
Look.
I brought some slides.
I'm Ricky Schroeder.
Yeah.
Just keep saying his own name.
Yeah.
Like a child star who's so in love, just embraces it.
The way, he just refers to himself in the third person all the time. Ricky Schroeder smash.
Visibly intoxicated.
Yes.
12-year-old boy.
You want to go, T? You want to go?
Want to go?
You take me on?
I'm right here, you big puss.
Yeah, I'm Ricky fucking Schroeder.
Stumbles a little. Flask falls out of his blazer.
I'm 4'9", a blonde fury, and you're gonna get fucked up, Don Rickles. Oh, you're old Blue Eyes? I'm young Blue Eyes. I'm gonna kick your ass, Sinatra.
You guys are all going to die before me.
Yeah. Mobsters. Well, I know you got to go. Anything else in here that struck your fancy?
Not that grabbed me, I just try to look at this from like my childhood perspective.
Yeah. But
I will say 9 o'clock, I just wrote, probably put in a VHS.
Yeah.
That would, because there's nothing at 9 o'clock that I was like, I wouldn't have watched any of that stuff.
There's a crazy movie that I want to see now starring Morgan Fairchild. It's an action movie. The most wanted woman in the world. Beautiful, seductive, deadly. Only 3 men have a chance to stop her in Time Bomb, starring Billy D. Williams, Morgan Fairchild, Merlin Olsen, and Joseph Bottoms.
Yep. The joke name at the end that's not a joke name.
Yeah. What do you want us to credit you as? Joe Bottoms? I don't know.
Joe.
Okay.
Oh, Joe Bottoms is the best Italian gay bar.
Yes.
That I've ever been in my life.
Joey Bottoms, they had the best cannolis.
Good guy.
Gratis. Totally free.
Just laid out.
Yeah. Oh, Friday nights was Gabagoo night. It was great. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I'm glad we finally got to.
Oh, me too, man. I'm glad we finally made it happen. And,
Yeah.
and thanks for having me on. I just was like looking at I was looking at Twitter and something you tweeted came up and I was like, oh fuck, I can reach out to Ken.
Yeah.
I'm in Massachusetts.
Thank you for doing it. And
absolutely.
Maybe sometime when we're not in a global pandemic, we'll see each other face to face.
I would love it. I will definitely. I'll be back.
Okay. There you go, Matt. Great. As I said, you know him, you love him. And if you didn't before, now you do. That was a very fun episode. I'm glad we got to chat. Hopefully we'll do a part 2 at some point and we'll chat again. I'd love to have him back on the show. Again, thank you guys so much for all the suggestions too for guests. I do try to get every single person that you suggest onto the show. Some I do, some I don't, but I at least try. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll be here next week for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
It is an ungodly amount. Yeah. An amount of cocaine that you would be put under the jail. Even someone who worked for Escobar at his height, Escobar would be like, don't take that much.